Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Srila Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna ki jai. Okay, so we'll recite something called Mangalacharan. Mangalacharan is the prayers to the saints, to the gurus. And the reason we recite Mangalacharan is again for the same reason that this knowledge is coming from the gurus themselves, the saints of bygone ages. So in order for a student to access a knowledge of any particular field, they need to be able to get the blessing of the teacher who has taught this knowledge. Yes? So for this reason we recite the Mangalacharan. So if you know, you can recite it with me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Shvapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna. So today's topic, I thought we could discuss, would be the secrets of spiritual success. Let me just see there we go. Okay, perfect. The reason why I wanted to pick this topic is we hear so many industrialists and so many sort of successful businessmen or even successful people in their lives. Everyone wants to know what was the secret behind their success, what enabled them to get so successful so quickly or to some degree. If you have social media, you will see that it's riddled with interviews with Elon Musk, interviews with what's his name, Jamie Dimon, interviews with Barack Obama, all wanting to understand what was their secret of success. Similarly, spiritualists or aspiring spiritualists, we also want to try and understand, when you see someone so quickly become so well versed in spiritual principles, in spiritual matters, and their behaviors and daily practices, immediately, very quickly, you can see them becoming comfortable with spiritual practices. We want to understand how were they able to so quickly, become such strong spiritualists. See, Krishna consciousness has anyone gone to the beach recently? Or has anyone gone to the beach ever? Anyone from Bombay, Mumbai? Yeah. Well, thank you so much. So when you go to the beach, I always notice that three types of people. The first type of person are you can say the parents or the grandparents. They like to just sit by the chair near the water, and they just put their legs in the water. It's okay, right? And then you have the children and some more expert swimmers. They like to go inside the sea itself and like to splash around and do wonderfully. And sorry, there's another, and fourth type of people. Then there's the third type of person. The third type of person are in, if you go to like the Mediterranean or Monaco or something, you'll have these multi-billionaires and multi-millionaires. They'll be in the center of the ocean, but they'll be on the surface of it, on their yacht, on their boat like this, right? But if someone were to ask you, where are the jewels of this world? Where are they found? the diamonds and the rubies, where are they found? They're found on the ocean floor, right? And so the fourth type of person is one who's exploring the ocean from within. They go dive deep and explore the ocean bed. Krishna consciousness is like this. We have four choices. We can either just sit on the periphery, put our feet in, relax. We'll get some relief. We'll be okay. Or we can be like the expert swimmers or the children. They go in like to swim in the water and a little bit they still come back to shore. Or we can be like the multi-billionaire. They're just in the middle of the sea, but they're sitting on top of the water. They're not actually going in. But if we really want to understand and discover the jewels that Krishna consciousness has to offer us, then we have to go deep. We have to go to the ocean floor and be able to take that out. So like this, so then the next question is, well, what is required to go to the ocean floor? What is required to really go deep into Krishna consciousness? And that is what we'll discuss today, the secret. So this is like anyone who goes deep sea diving, they usually have scuba gear on. This is our scuba gear. If we can put this on, then we can get into the depths of Krishna consciousness very easily. Most of the texts that we see, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Chaitamrita, most of these ancient Vedic texts, they have one thing in common, right? The one thing that they have in common is and it's usually found in the introduction. Actually, maybe I'll take some answers here or some guesses. So, if you were to look at all these Vedic texts, in the beginning, in the introduction, all of them have one thing in common. Can anyone guess what that would be? Paying obeisances. Yeah, he got it. That's exactly it. Every Vedic text starts off with paying obeisances to the gurus, to the spiritual masters. In the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, we read the Mangalacharan, what we just recited. In Canto 1, Chapter 2, Sutta Goswami, when he is starting his narrations to the sages of Naimisharanya in response to their questions, he starts off by paying obeisances to Sukadev Goswami. In the Chaitanya Chaitamrita, the author, Krishnadas Kaviraj, he says, first text, he writes, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters. Right? First line of this text. And we even see, even in ISKCON, what is the first prayer that is offered? Om Agyanati Virandasya. First prayer of the day. Madhava Nalita Loka. Let's understand this. First prayer of an institution that is aimed to help its followers develop bhakti. Bhakti to who? Bhakti to Krishna. And the first time when you enter the temple and the temple doors open, the prayers that are sung to the spiritual master. That should tell us the importance that the Bhakti Yoga path places, and any spiritual path places on the spiritual master, on Guru. Right? And one may say, okay, this is great, but if, as you said, if the goal is Krishna, if the goal is to develop loving devotional service to Krishna, why are we placing so much emphasis on Guru? The emphasis should be on Krishna. When we go into the temple, why are we saying Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam? Vande Guru, why are we praying to Guru? In fact, if you look at the entire morning program of ISKCON, first is Guru Vastakam, prayers to the spiritual master. Second prayer is Nrsimhadev prayers. Third prayer is to Tulsi Maharani. Then we go into the japa. And then the fifth prayer of the day, that is Darshan Arti. That is when we sing Govinda Madi Purusha. Right? And then the sixth prayer again is Guru Puja, Guru Vandana. Out of the 6 morning prayers, 1/3 of the prayers are solely directed to Guru. One is directly directed to Krishna, the other to Nrsimhadev, and one directed to the devotee of Krishna. So if we were to take one step back, out of the 6 morning prayers, the 6 first prayers, that Prabhupada said are central to a devotee's, to a sadhak's devotional life. Two are directed to Guru, but if you look at it, even the third one is directed to a devotee of Krishna, Tulsi Maharani. Half of the prayers are directed to the devotee of Krishna. Why? Why is there so much emphasis on the Guru in our movement? So that's what we'll discuss today, right? So this is what I just talked about. All these prayers, all directed to out of the 5 morning prayers, directed to glorify Guru. Okay. So, if anyone have a doctorate or a PhD here, we'll just go. Yeah, let's go here. Anyone have a doctorate or PhD in the audience? Besides me. So it usually takes about. Actually, let's just stick to this slide. So, to be considered an expert in this world, in any field, one must obtain a PhD or a doctorate, right? They'll say if you want to inquire about, and even within medicine, if you want to go and get the specialist or the expert for the heart, you just don't go to a family doctor, you'll go to a cardiologist. For somebody who needs to understand astronomic engineering, you'll go to someone with a PhD in astronomic engineering. This weekend, there was the Formula One Grand Prix. The Formula One Grand Prix has one of the best engineers in the world. Most of them have a PhD, if not a master's, right? So to become a subject matter of anything in this world, you need a PhD. PhD takes anywhere from 10 to 15 years. And that is just to become an expert on one item in this world. Imagine if you were to become an expert on another item. That would take another 15 years, and so on and so forth. So if somebody were to become an expert on all matters of this material world, how long do you think that will take? Sorry? Life, right? Like full life, right? Yeah. Now, our spiritual life, we are directed towards Krishna. So we want to fully become experts in knowing who Krishna is and loving Krishna and worshipping Him. Krishna, by definition, is God, and God, by definition, is beyond the material world. So to become an expert in knowing Krishna, how long do you think it will take? Right? So this is the thing. So to become 10 to 15 years is for earthly expertise in one subject matter. Universal mastery to become in multiple subjects. It's one human lifetime. If it's even logically, it's impossible. And to become an expert in Krishna is not even, we can't even think about it, right? So the question is that, okay, how are we supposed to love Krishna if we can't even begin to understand who He is? Or, let me even back this up. Is there anyone in this universe who actually took out the time to understand Krishna, who did the work, who did the thinking so that we don't have to do this much work? And the answer is on this slide, Lord Brahma. So in Canto 2 or Canto 3 of the Bhagavatam, we learned that Lord Brahma meditated just on Krishna, and I did actually do the calculation, for 315.36 trillion earthly years. Right? And so Brahma, he has spent so much time to meditate Krishna, at which point then it is described Vishnu appears to him and then gives him knowledge. Right? And so the first reason why Guru is so important is related to this story. The reason why Guru is so important and the saints in general are so important is because the Guru actually takes up all the hard work that is required to reach a certain mastery and then gives the realization to the disciple so that the disciple doesn't have to do all that hard work. Imagine going to university we all go to university, we spend 4 years, and then we get a degree, and then we get a job. The person who is teaching us has gone and done their PhD or whatever, and now they teach us. Imagine instead of you sitting there for 4 years to learn that subject matter, you go in and the teacher says, I've already done the work for you. You just do this, and tomorrow you'll get the same benefit as me. Imagine how quick that would be. First of all, student loans will be finished because you don't have to take that. You don't have to spend 4 years in studying a subject matter. But this is the mercy of Guru and Lord Brahma. So we in ISKCON fall into the sampradaya of the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So in this way, Lord Brahma is actually our first Guru. And so the example that Lord Brahma set was that I will do all the work so that my disciples and my great grand disciples don't have to do that same level of work. They can just build from whatever I have given them. Imagine, right? Imagine if Lord Brahma didn't do that work or didn't give us all the, imagine if he turned to his disciple Narad Muni and said, listen man, I spent 315 trillion years. I'm not just going to give you the information, you also have to spend this long. The Vedic knowledge won't actually flow. In our sampradaya, it is said that Bhakti Vinod Thakur, one of the acharyas that we see on the altar here, I think he spent like 7 or 15 years trying to get a copy of the Chaitanya Chaitamrit. Today, if you have a smartphone and an internet connection, you can get Chaitanya Chaitamrit with the translation, the purports, the understanding, all the links just from the convenience of your palm. Right? Why? Because somebody like Bhakti Vinod Thakur went, got a copy, did the work. Prabhupada then again, put in his effort, and then so many devotees since then have transformed these books to be so easily accessible to us. It was described in the previous ages that in order to take Diksha, you actually had to leave home, go to Vrindavan, go to Mathura or something, stay with the Guru, and then from there, then after years and years of serving, then you might get Diksha and then you might be able to go. If that was the same process in today's day and age in Canada, would we have this temple here today? So this is why Guru is that's just the first reason of why Guru is so important, is that they do all the hard work for us and then just give us the essence so that we can continue. Right? Okay, so, and the hard work that they do, the Vedic wisdom that they give, we get to just automatically relish the fruit of that. And the fruit of this wisdom that they give is, it restores our loving relationship with God. Right? So the fruit, if you think about it, is Krishna consciousness. And what is Krishna consciousness? It is being able to realize that we are actually a spirit soul, we are the part and parcel of Krishna, and our relationship with him exists as a loving servant. And in this way, we actually get the soul satisfied, that soul satiation. Right? So now, if you think about that, why is that emphasized? If anyone in the audience, let me ask you, why does someone need Krishna consciousness in their life? Anyone? Please, any answer? To get rid of, why would you want to get rid of the physical body? You're young, physical body looks good.
You don't have to come back and do all this earth chaos and stuff like that.
But people are having fun why wouldn't someone want to come back? The earth is a good place, is it not?
Yeah, it is a good place, but it's a way to come and to get know Krishna and
Yeah, okay. So anyone else like to add to that before I move on? Why would we want to be Krishna conscious? Anyone from the lady side? To get eternal happiness, yes. Okay. So that's what he was trying to get to, is that once you get to know Krishna, you get to a place where you have eternal happiness. So let's move to pillar 2. right? So actually, yeah, and the reason why we need eternal happiness is because we can't find eternal happiness here. Yes, that's the assumption we're going to go with. Even if you find happiness, it's not eternal. And I can tell you this because the day I got, I still remember it was a few days after we had just gotten married, and I got the call that, hey, like, I have gotten the job and I'm going to be moving back to Canada. And I was really, really happy. But I'll tell you that happiness lasted a few minutes because after that I was like, oh, the taxes and Toronto traffic and all this, all that. So it lasted very shortly. Even when on the day of your graduation, if you can remember, you get your degree and you're so happy, and then you go to work and the first day of work is really good, and then you meet your boss, and then it's like, oh. So even in this world, the concept of eternal happiness is actually, we can't even understand it because since birth, our happiness has only been given to us in, you can say, just in sprints, in flashes. The sages describe that they give this analogy that if you were taken by force and pushed into the water, what will you do? You will throw your hands up, you will scream, you will try to come out to grab air. But then, as soon as just before you're going to drown and pass out, somebody lifts you up. And what's the first thing you do when you come up? You take that breath. But as soon as you take that one breath, immediately they push you back down. The material world is described like this, that actually the happiness in this world is not actually happiness. It's actually the cessation of suffering, which we think is happiness, right? If this is happiness and this is distress, if we are here, the material world takes us here, so we don't have any distress, but we think that's happiness. Happiness is actually beyond that. True happiness, it's here on this side. So that's what the material world says. Okay, so all of that into context is to give you, the reason why I went into all this context is just to reiterate this point that we are in suffering. And the way out of that suffering is through Krishna consciousness. And who gives us Krishna consciousness? Guru. So Guru is, what they're actually doing is they're playing the long game. Long game in the sense that the whole point of why we are suffering is said because we are in this world, as Prabhu said, we are in this world, we are in this body. But the moment we actually come out to the spiritual world, to a spiritual body, then the sufferings that are related to this body, to this world, they stop and we can get eternal happiness, as Mataji said. Right? But to get there, that takes some time. You can't just get there immediately, right? You still have to go through this lifetime and everything, and then at the end of this life, then you can assume spiritual happiness. So this is long. This is the long game. But that long game is eternal happiness. Then there is no concept of coming back and coming back again. That's it. Suffering is finished and we are eternally happy. So someone may say, this is good, Prabhu, but I am 20 years old, I am 40 years old, I'm 50 years old. I still have 50, 60, 70 years ahead of me. So in these 50, 60, 70 years, I still have to suffer. So how is Guru relieving my suffering in the short term? Long term, fine. But how is Guru relieving my suffering in the short term? And in this way, and what I want to tell you is Guru does both. They relieve your suffering in the long term, but they can also relieve your suffering in the short term. How so? When we go to look at the Bhagavatam again, we read the prayers of Queen Kunti Maharani. Kunti Maharani is also known as we hold her in very high regard because she actually teaches sadhakas and followers of the bhakti path how to actually tolerate and contextualize suffering in such a way that it becomes a catalyst for spiritual growth. Right? So what do I mean by that? How many of us go, I won't put people on the spot, but so I'm assuming everyone is really fit and goes to the gym every day, is really good. If you go to the gym every day, I can tell you your body is going to be sore here days. And even if you have gone to, or even not to the gym, but those of us who have, going to the gym itself is a struggle. Getting into the car, getting your mind ready, those of us, I can see some smiling faces, so I'm not alone. It is a struggle. But once we get there, then we do it and we feel good afterwards. We feel energized. Similarly at fasting, right? During fasting, you will say, at least in the beginning, you'll be like, oh, why am I fasting? And Ekadashi twice a month, Prabhu, maybe once a year, we're good. We'll just keep that Bhima Ekadashi and then we're good. What do you mean I can't have, I can't have dal sabji, or I can have sabji, I can't have dal, roti, rice. I have to have all these. The first time I got introduced to Ekadashi, and my mom said we cooked rice, and I was like, I would love to see this Ekadashi rice. And when she showed me samo rice, I was like, I'm not having that. I'm just gonna make me something else. It's a struggle, right? But then at the end of it, once we get into the groove, we actually feel so nourished, even though our bodies are tired. I remember for Nrsimha Chaturdasi, we had fasted one year, and and then I got to help out in the festival. And at the end of the festival, we were so hungry, but we were so energized because we had an amazing festival. Same thing for Janmashtami, everything. No,
That doesn't feel like
that happened once in my life.
I get passed out, we get headache, don't want to serve, and it goes other way. Fasting is a way with the Ekadasi
Food, okay. Fasting nonetheless, right? Perfect. Right? So, but we still, as Mataji said, we still want to fast. We still want to conduct some austerity, right? Why do we voluntarily subject ourselves to this? Why do we voluntarily subject ourselves to going to the gym, putting our bodies through that, or even in the case of fasting, why do we voluntarily subject our body to distress? To please Krishna, yes. We see a purpose behind the austerity, right? When we go, again, gym, it cannot be like this is a complete mundane example, but we see the purpose. Yes, if I do this, sure, it may be difficult for 1-2 hours, but I'm actually going to feel greater longer term, you know, yeah, it's just I'm going to have health for a longer period, right? So when we have the right context of why we are placing ourselves in distresses, it gives us the energy and the mindset to tolerate that distress and to actually see that distress as a positive factor. Guru specifically arms the disciple with that same context when it comes to suffering. Guru is able to provide the disciple and provide the sadhaka with the mindset that will allow them to contextualize suffering in such a way so that they actually see it as a catalyst for their spiritual growth. Queen Kunti is a prime example for this. She prays that I wish all those calamities would happen again and again. So she's praying for more suffering. Why? For seeing Krishna, means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths, as you said. Right? So this is the reason why I brought this up is because we initially started our conversation by saying, or this part of the conversation by saying that Guru takes away suffering. So Guru takes away the core suffering, which is this body, and gives us a path that we can follow so we can attain eternal happiness at the end of this life. But during this life, we still have to suffer. So Guru gives us the mindset on how to process and contextualize this current suffering on the way to the ultimate goal, so that we can contextualize it and use it for spiritual growth. Yes? Right. When we even see this with, I was speaking about Brahma, we even see this with Narad Muni. Narad Muni, again, in Canto 1 of the Bhagavatam, he was a very young child, and his mother actually passed away, and so he was an orphan. And he suffered quite. And for that, you can imagine, even, you know, if one was a grown, even if he was a grown man with his own family, the loss of a loved one, of a family member, is really, it's traumatic. And he was a child. So imagine what suffering he must have been. But he used that suffering because he had heard from saints and from sages. He contextualized that suffering in such a way that it actually allowed him to get spiritual realization. And in this way, in his next birth, he appeared as Sri Narad Muni. Right? We can see all this in Canto 1 of the Bhagavatam. And so the second pillar, so the first pillar of why Guru is this secret of our success, is because they have done the hard work and they give us the essence of the knowledge so that we can build on that. The second point is Guru helps give us relief, short-term relief in terms of contextualizing our suffering, but also long-term relief in that they just completely cease suffering so that we can continue to not just focus on Krishna consciousness, but actually experience that loving relationship with Krishna. If he's helping you if he transports you to the spiritual world with Krishna, then you get to experience that rasa, that loving relationship with him. So that's the second pillar. And now for the third pillar, the final pillar of why Guru is important. Has anyone been to Sri Rangam, or anyone know of Sri Rangam in South India? Yes, I see some nods. Yes. So Sri Rangam, for those of us who haven't, I also haven't gone, I have only read about it. To get the darshan of the deity, there are 3 gates you have to go through. The first gate, and it's like a courtyard. So you go through the gate, and it's like a little boundary, and then there's line, then another gate, and then there's a third gate. So the first 2 gates, they open from outside. So whoever's at the gate, the handles, they're facing the pilgrim, the devotee, so they can just open like this. The third gate, the gate that gives them the darshan of the deity, the one in the temple room, that is very special. That door actually opens from inside the temple room. So even if you go and try to open it, you can't, because the door opens that way, inside. This is actually also the story of a devotee's journey to Krishna. The devotee may be able to open up 1, 2, 3 doors, 4 doors, 5 doors through their own effort. But the last door to Krishna opens it by his grace. He chooses when to open it and reveal himself to the devotee. So when I first read this, I was like, well, that's great. Like, how long will Krishna take to open that door? I can be doing Krishna consciousness for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, but Krishna may not open that door. So me being me, with my crooked mind, I was like, okay, how can I bribe Krishna to open the door? Is there anything that I can do so that Krishna opens the door for me? And there is one thing. The one thing that attracts Krishna, that will push Krishna, that will sort of tempt Krishna to open the door and have him see, and have us see him, is this quality of humility. Now, humility may have very different definitions, but the definition that most resonates with me is that humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. Meaning, I don't think that I'm the worst and I don't have anything, or whatever. The humble person, that thought doesn't even enter their mind, because they're not thinking about themselves. Whether good or bad, they've minimized their thoughts about themselves. The focus is on everyone else and Krishna. Right? Now, as you can imagine, this quality, humility, is very difficult to develop. It's a very subtle quality, and it's actually quite difficult to develop, right? And our society does not, when I say society, the material world does not make it easy to develop humility. Imagine showing humility, imagine if a CEO shows humility, what will happen, right? The The CEO will just say, like, we'll forget about it, right? Even at work, if we show humility, we're often put in this sort of, we may be interpreted as being walked all over or being a doormat. People may take advantage of us. People may manipulate the situation. So humility is not so conducive to be developed in the material world, and yet humility is the one jewel that we need if we want to see Krishna. So how do we develop humility? And this is where Guru comes in. So this is the third pillar. One simple, very simple way for us to develop humility is by worshipping the saints, by offering respects to the saints, by worshipping Guru. We see on the altar here, we have all the Gurus in our lineage, but then usually you have the picture of the Diksha Guru of whoever is performing the arti, because at that time they're also worshipping. And this is the reason why every morning, before we even get to the worship of Krishna, Prabhupada instituted this Guru Vandana, this Guru Vastakam prayers, because the focus is that until and unless we can develop humility to serve, to worship Guru, how will we ever get a chance to actually worship Krishna? The first and foremost point is to develop the humility to worship Guru. In fact, in Chaitanya Chaitamrita in Antya Leela, chapter 4, Krishnadas Kaviraj, he said that by humility and meekness, or Prabhupada writes, by humility and meekness, one can attract the attention of God. So the hope is that if the disciple can at least worship their Guru, for whom he has great reverence and respect, then slowly that humility can be expanded to other members and other devotees around them. So, with that, and so this is the last slide. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also said, don't try to see Krishna, do something that Krishna will want to see you. And what is that something? To serve in the mood of humility. Now, this is what we started off with. So the question was, why is so much emphasis placed on the Guru in our movement? The first pillar was the concept of the hard work, the labor that the Guru does. They perform lifetimes of austerity, lifetimes. You look at Brahma, then came Narad, then this, then that, and then you look at Srila Prabhupada. How many austerities he took on. If you read Prabhupada Lilamrit, you will see like where he was living in the Bowery. Even if you go to New York today, 26 2nd Avenue, and you look at the apartments in the back, you'll be like, oh, why would Prabhupada, in fact, now they have said that they've upskilled those apartments. When Prabhupada came, they were even in a worse situation. Go, if you can, and see the apartments, and imagine what it would have looked like when Prabhupada came and he stayed there. And that's why did he stay there? So he could start ISKCON. So that today, me and you and all of us, we could actually be in Oakville for performing worship to Krishna because Prabhupada decided to stay in that Bowery. And that is just one example. The heart attacks that he suffered on the ship, all what he did so that we can have a chance. We don't have to make the journey on a boat ship. We don't have to go live in the Bowery. Prabhupada already did that. He has given us the final result, and we can immediately take it up. So that's the first thing. The first thing is that the Guru does the hard work, the labor, so that the disciple can just, take it from there and build from that. The second thing was the relief. The Guru gives relief to short-term and long-term suffering. Long-term suffering, he gives relief by giving the path so that the disciple can establish his original spiritual nature. And the short-term suffering is that, the short-term relief is he's able to contextualize the suffering in such a way so that we can use that short-term suffering to actually act as a catalyst for spiritual growth. And the third pillar is the sacrifice, is that he actively allows us to worship him so that we can develop humility. And does anyone know what the Guru gets when we worship him? So we get humility. But what does the guru get by the disciple worshipping the guru? Anyone? Sorry? Humility. So we get humility. There is a story actually that Gora Prabhu was sharing with me, Prabhupada disciple. He shared this in Prabhupada's disappearance day. So, do you see this murti? I mean, the altar is covered right now, but when you go to we have the murti of Srila Prabhupada, right? We have the murti of Srila Prabhupada always. So this murti of Srila Prabhupada, it was actually brought into ISKCON before Srila Prabhupada left the world. So it was brought. So I think it was in Bangalore or Mumbai, one of those two places, where the devotees showed Prabhupada for the first time his murti. And they said that Prabhupada, because you cannot be in every center, we would like to install this murti so we can still do Guru Vandana to you. And Prabhupada said, yes, this is all right. And actually, I think it was Bangalore. Shortly after Prabhupada left, he went to Mumbai or something, and then in Bangalore, these very high Brahmins came just to see the temple. They got invited. And Prabhupada told at that time the temple commander, I think Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he told him that these Brahmins are coming to the temple, they're proper Brahmins, make sure you really take care of them, like really serve them really nicely and take care of them and show them around. And so the devotees were like, yes, sure, Prabhupada. So the Brahmins came to the temple and they were showing, and then they saw a murti of Prabhupada and they said, why are you keeping murti? Your guru is still present on the planet. And they said, no, we keep the murti, we worship every day, and our guru said it's fine. And one of the Brahmins said, your guru said it's fine to keep his murti and worship him even when he's still present? And they said, yes, it's fine. He said it's fine. So this Brahmin was very much against it. So he said, where is your guru? And they said, he's in Bombay or something. So he said, I'm leaving right now to go to Bombay, and I'm going to present him all the Vedic and scriptural evidence of why the worship in the murti form of the guru, before they leave and after they leave, should be forbidden completely. So he was very much against it. So he went to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada received him with respect, and the Brahmin sat. And the Brahmin is like, Prabhupada, this worshipping of your murti, I cannot let it happen. Prabhupada's like, why not? Tell me. And so he just kept on speaking. He said, he gave this evidence, this evidence, this evidence. He gave so many different, and Prabhupada kept on saying, yeah, but we can do this, yeah, we can do this, that. And then it got to a point where Prabhupada just stopped saying anything, and this Brahmin just kept on going on and on and on. And the last point he said is that, Prabhupada, if you allow your disciples to worship your murti, then you will continue to take on their sins even after you leave this world. So, to the question, the disciple, when he worships the murti of Guru, they get humility. When the Guru, because the disciple is worshipping the Guru gets the devotee's karma. They get the devotee's sinful reaction, the disciple's sinful reaction. So the Brahmin was like, Prabhupada, you will continue to suffer even after you leave. What to speak of suffering now, you will continue to suffer even after you leave. And Prabhupada looked at him and he said, don't you know, this is why I have come. This is why I have come, so that these people can worship and go back home, back to Godhead. So this last slide, this was the exchange here. Disciple pays reverence and obeisances to the Guru, but by the Guru accepting the worship, they also absorb the disciple's sinful reaction. And in return, what does the Guru give? The Guru gives blessings and purification. This is the third pillar of why Guru is so vital to a disciple's or a sadhaka's life. That they are taking our sinful reactions and we are getting, and in return, they're giving us blessing. Look at, talk about a bad deal. This is why Guru is so important, and the reason why Guru is able to do this is because, and you will say, well, then why would a Guru do this? The Guru is able to do this because they are the via medium through which Krishna's blessings, those blessings and purification that we get from Guru, are not just coming from Guru, but they're the Guru is, like you can say, a medium through which the blessings, all from Krishna, all from the saints of the past, they all come through. If you've been to any initiation ceremony in ISKCON, the Guru, whoever's initiating, they always say this: on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, we are pleased to offer you the name such and such, right? Because they are the via medium through which the blessings of Srila Prabhupada, of all our Guru Parampara, and ultimately Krishna are coming through. So with that, I'd like to conclude. I'd like to conclude, and if there's any comments, if there's any points that anyone would like to raise, any questions, I'd be more than happy to take them on now. But we can have a little bit of a discussion as well.
Prabhuji, it was amazing class. Thank you very much. And I don't have any questions because your class was very clean and clear, very easy to understand. And this is the really good reminder for women who have got initiated. It's not like just you did forget. So it's a good reminder. And behalf of my congregation, I think some of us will be again glad to hear this class. What do you think? Like, this is the really good class which we want as a reminder also why Guru is so important. And I really like that last point which you told about the Prabhupada. That is why we came. That is just I remember again that is a reminder. The story I have heard so long back, but we really need this reminder. Because we forgot. Our brains are very small. And we remember all the messages, but this is a very enlightening class.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much.
Really, you nailed.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any comment?
Yeah. Any comments? Any criticisms?
For me, Prabhuji, please accept my obeisances and the administration of Prabhupada. Prabhuji, for me, it's like a extended reminder because I recently got initiated.
Congratulations.
Last week.
Oh, Jai! Haribol!
So,
At the island?
yeah.
Oh, Jai!
So, like, you have given me the pillars. The topic is the success story and the pillars, but it's like pillars for me that what I'm going to do. Prabhuji. Every single word, like, it was like vibrating in my mind, like, and I was getting the visualization of the initiation ceremony because the moment you said if somebody has witnessed the initiation ceremony in ISKCON, so I was like, Prabhuji is speaking something which I need to comprehend at every single time. That how it's like carrying the weights and the responsibilities, like we carry the weights in the gym. These are the spiritual weights which Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara has given for us to carry with so much responsibility. And it's really not about getting the spiritual name, Prabhuji. For me, it is following it very sincerely and just he has done the austerity. Like he said. We are just taking the fruit of what the sages have done. So it's a great reminder. And I think I will carry this class forever. Like every single day, I have to remind myself that it's even if it's a new birth, you have to be serious. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. And the best part which I liked was that you need to contextualize your suffering so that you can take it as a catalyst, so that it helps you elevate your spiritual journey. Right? So
Yeah.
it's like a formula. C plus C is equal to E. Something like that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Prabhu.
No, thank you so much. Yeah. I mean, yeah, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for wonderful class. I was just thinking that like you were saying, like what I heard in the entire class is you get initiated and you are good, basically. But I feel that like there needs to be, like just having a guru. How practically it is going to be possible to go through the from pillar to pillar, because like we have been initiated say for 20 years now.
Yeah.
And then did we get the relief from the sufferings?
Yeah.
Yes and no. And I mean it's a journey which is not going to be like any magic,
Yes.
and yeah, so yeah, for me, I mean, I would feel that like the reminder is to be grateful.
Yeah.
To be grateful to your spiritual master, because he's taking your sins.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, thank you so much. I actually wanted to say that each of these pillars, if we think about it, that is the source of our gratitude. If they have already done so much work and they're just giving us the fruit, then we're like, oh, we are so grateful. Thank you so much. If they're providing us a path for the relief of our suffering, in the sense that for future, but also in the present, they can help us contextualize how we're saying. Like we hear so many. I was listening to a Q&A yesterday from one guru, and he was just saying that, the way, like some devotee had said, if the material, the point in the class I think was that the material world is going to continue to get worse, and he was like, Maharaj, how am I supposed to live my life? Like I'll just get depressed if it's just going to get worse and worse. How am I supposed to practice my Krishna consciousness if it's just going to get worse? He's like, I need some economic. He specifically said, he's like, I need some economic stability, some economic opulence, so that I can continue to live my life and not get depressed. And Maharaj just said, what's the point of this economic development if at the end of the day you're still not going to realize who Krishna is? And then you still have to come back and do the entire thing again, right? So sure, things are going to get worse in the material aspect and everything. But if your spiritual backbone, if your spiritual foundation is strong, and if you can see how this is actually helping you become more and more surrendered to Krishna, then what suffering are you talking about? Like essentially, like this is a catalyst to continue to your growth. This is actually furthering your growth. So when I was listening to that, I was like, yeah, it's such a good like reframing of the mind to be like, like we had wildfires and all of this. Imagine if we are able to, and I was on a class, I was listening to a class by Keshav Maharaj the other day, and he said, imagine if you're able to see everything that's happening negative in your life reminds you of Krishna. Imagine. You wouldn't feel anything negative. You'll be like, this is positive, this is positive. Like the fire, I was just thinking, when we had the fires, I was like, like if this is the fire was not even here, it was in northern Ontario, but we could see the smoke. I'm like, how terrifying must have been the Vrindavan fire, when Krishna was there. And I was like, oh, I'm so grateful that even in this moment I can think about Krishna, right? But yeah, so anyway, so that also we can be grateful. And of course, the sacrifice, as you said, Prabhu, like this is the source of our gratitude. In terms of the practicality, yeah, like at least from whatever little I know, and this goes back to Mataji's point too, the most important part of a sadhaka's initiated name is the last letter, the last word, das or dasi, right? And we can serve, and that's the whole point, is that we can serve our guru and the Vaishnavas around us through so many different ways. It all starts off, of course, by offering good sadhana, that is a service, then reading, I would like one devotee told me that yes, this is all great gratitude to have in the heart, but how do you convert it to practical gratitude? And I was stumped. I was like, I don't know what to say. And then they gave the answer that they're like, one simple way, very simple thing that we can convert, as you said, from just theoretical or emotional gratitude to practical gratitude is, why did Prabhupada work so hard to give us his books? If we can just read every day, like just one thing. Prabhupada worked so hard to give us these books. My gosh. He was up at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, writing these books, putting them on the tape recorder, and then carrying those books. He didn't carry any clothes, like barely carried any clothes. In his trunk, most of what was there was the first canto of the Bhagavatam. So much he was working, day and night working. He had, Srutakirti Prabhu says in his book, that Prabhupada had a bell if he needed something, because he was like, I need to save my voice so I can go on the tape recorder and record for my books. And I can say for myself, I'm not taking advantage of his books. So sure, I feel great emotional gratitude to Prabhupada. What am I doing about it? Right? And then what to speak of everything else that he has given, the holy names. And we can go on and on, like how much, and again, I'll say for myself, how much Krishna has, by the mercy of the Guru, I have gotten Krishna's holy name. How much emphasis am I placing during my japa on each and every syllable of his holy name? Right? So yeah, thank you so much. That was a really great point. I just something it led to some other discussion as well. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
Yeah, it is our patient.
Given the fact that everything Srila Prabhupada has written and documented, right? And also it is so simplified that we can actually read and understand most of it, if not. Right? What is the difference your spiritual master is making in your life when you have already this material and you can access this material as well?
Yeah.
So accessibility isn't an issue. Interpretation isn't an issue because he has written that also very well. What is the difference that the spiritual guru is making at this moment?
Yeah. So thank you so much for asking that question. So I will just speak from my experience. My experience has been the applicability of those principles in my day-to-day life. So Prabhupada has written books, and they're very practical, as you said. But if we actually read the voluminous, like if we understand, so we have to first understand that Prabhupada's books are there, but so are his lectures, his morning walks, his letters. And if we consider the volume of all the literature that Prabhupada has given, sometimes we feel that actually 3 or 4 aspects can be applied to one particular situation that we have, right? This is actually a point of the Vedas. The Vedas are written so that people with different natures can use different aspects to increase their spiritual life. Bhagavad Gita is the same thing. It's given karma yoga, jnana yoga, buddhi yoga, and then bhakti yoga. Right? And then of course we're told bhakti yoga, but even within bhakti yoga there are principles and then there are the details. Guru comes in and helps you figure out what are those details and which details to focus on given your nature, your sort of situation in life, and everything else. Right? For example, let's take fasting, right? So fasting on, like, let's say Nrsimhadev's appearance day. So technically, as per the Vedas, we're supposed to be fasting from the night before until like dusk. No water, no food. But now if I'm like, okay, like I am also running around, let's say I'm engaged in manual labor. You're like, I can't do this, right? Now, you may be that you'll be like, yeah, I'll just have Ekadashi, I'll be fine. But what if someone is like, I don't want to have Ekadashi? Would having Ekadashi mean I'm breaking a fast? But I also like, I still want to perform the austerity, I still want to do this, but like, I'm also like, what do I do? Guru can come and be like, okay, this is the principle. This is how you apply this detail for your scenario. And that is just one very mundane example. What to speak of when life gets complicated and you have like, you're in a corporate environment and you say that, Maharaj, you tell me that I'm supposed to be humble. In my corporate environment, if I'm humble, I'm going to get walked over. I'm going to be misused. How can I maintain the concept of humility and still show up to my corporate environment in such a way where I can engage in the service of Krishna in a very efficient way without being walked over? How do I handle these two things? Right? Humility is again the principle, but that detail of how to apply that humility in such a toxic work environment, that becomes a detail. And that's where Guru can come in and do that. Guru will know they'll have realizations from all of Prabhupada's books and letters and this and that, and they can sort of help churn and sort of point you to the area that you need to focus on so that you can make spiritual advancement given your nature, your situation, and your resources. Does that help? Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful class and wonderful answers. Let's give a big Haribol. Okay. So the next will be the
I'll just
followed by
I'll disconnect this.
the next is about the mental sponsorship. So as you all know, we are renting this place from Akita, and for every week we have a rent that we pay. And for this week, it is sponsored by Good Music in India and myself. Right? So we are looking for more sponsors for the month of August and September. So if anybody is interested, please reach out to Panchami Mataji or Sima Mataji. Okay, the next will be the closing kirtan. I request you all to rise up for the kirtan. You want this mic or this one?
Do we need mic?
We have audience.
We have audience? Hare Krishna. Okay. I need mic? Okay. My voice is already loud.
Not loud enough for the online audiences.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपिष्टाय पुत्र श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य दिष्टाय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त. Okay. No, it's okay. Let's sing it. Come. But you are. That's okay. Okay.
Haribol.
Okay. राधा श्याम सुंदर की, नरसिम्हा की, लॉर्ड नरसिम्हा की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. Huh? Yeah, if you can hear, it's okay for me. Yeah. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. शिला प्रभुपाद की महामंत्र की जय।
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकार्य अष्टोत्तर भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकार्य अष्टोत्तर भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की रहीम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की मथुरा धाम की वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की द्वारिका धाम की गंगा मैया की यमुना मैया की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की समवेत भक्त वृंद की गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shamate Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinavade Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Prachand Devi Shishundivadi Paschadate Sudhaya Jai.
शरीरा विद्या जाल जो जिंद्रियता है काल जीवे फले विशेषाग्र तारा मति जीवाति लोभो मोहे सुधर्मति ताके जिता कठिन संसारे